Welcome to the Greg Farricielli podcast. We are brokers and investors working heavily in the real estate game and have met extraordinary people along the way who are doing amazing things to help their peers and their communities grow. We are excited to give you revolutionary ways to live your best life. Well, guys, I am really excited about today's episode. Isiah, I know that you're an extraordinary person. You are that person, and you're a serial entrepreneur. I've been watching you. You've got real estate, you're licensed at Compass, you've got TV, film, I found you have 2 books that are published, and you're doing the 75 hard day challenge. You're just all over the place, man. And I just can't wait to talk to you about it, man. So it's welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Greg. I appreciate it. Excited.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming. A lot of, just even reading your bio and talking to you, it's the one common denominator I notice is that you're just you've got a strong mindset. You're very positive. You're positive on social media. You're always open to talk to people. You're very approachable. And I kind of want to unpack that a little bit, for the viewers, because there's a lot of people that, could probably learn a lot from you. Mm-hmm. So, the stage is yours, Isiah. I mean, tell me a little bit about yourself and your background.
Yeah, man. So I am originally from Little Rock, Arkansas.
Okay.
And I moved to Nashville. It'll be 9 years this year. That is so
wow.
Crazy. 9 years, right?
Almost a whole decade.
A whole decade, right? I was just 22 years old. That is so crazy. Because I had just graduated college from Arkansas State University, studying business management, and I was supposed to go do an internship I was supposed to have a job in Houston because I did an internship in Houston at a record label. And offered me a job, man. And then 2 months before graduation, they called me and was like, "Hey, the job is no longer available because the record label tanked." Whoa. So I was like, "What am I gonna do? So I had to move back home. And I know, right? You go from freedom to going back to your mama's house.
Back to it.
To your mama's
Such
house.
A tease of a taste.
That's right. It was ridiculous. However, it was definitely needed, because all steps are ordered, right? And so, so I actually got my master's degree in entertainment business. I knew I wanted to go into the entertainment realm, music and everything.
Is there anything specific in the entertainment realm that you were focused on?
Music, record label.
Like producing music?
No, I was actually on the marketing and management side of music.
It.
Yeah. So I wanted to be the artist manager, right?
Sure. So you go on the road and do all that fun stuff, right?
Exactly. Things have changed, okay?
Yeah, they absolutely have.
But when I got my master's degree, I went in and told my mom one day, I was like, "Hey, I'm moving." She's like, "Where are you moving to?" I was like, "Nashville." She's like, "Nashville?" She's like, "What's there?" I was like, "I don't know, entertainment." And Greg, I kid you not, literally the next day, Warner Music Group called me and was like, "Hey, you had filled out an application last year. Are you still interested in an internship?" I was like, "You will never know what just happened." I literally told my mom yesterday that I was moving to Nashville. So everything was just pointing to me moving to Nashville, man. And so I got here, and the record label that I interned for called me to Memphis to, work with some artists, and I would then meet my future boss. Stage. So, man, and she lived in Nashville, so everything comes to Nashville.
But it's once you think you're gonna come here, you cannot get out.
Cannot get out, right? So this is home now, man. This is where I'm supposed to be. And so I did entertainment, and I marketed TV and film for about 4 or 5 years. Got burned out, man. And I called a temp agency because the brother was broke.
So you were doing that as an intern?
I was working, as doing marketing for TV and film, but I got burned out with it, and the money wasn't, entertainment is cool and you see all the cool things on TV. However, the people who do the work aren't making the big bucks like that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I'm burned out. I don't want to do this, So I called the temp agency and I was like, hey, I don't care where you all put me, just give me a job. And it was at the front desk at Keller Williams. And
what?
yeah, it
Oh,
was at
man,
the
that is
front desk at
incredible.
Keller Williams, man. And
So how did that feel? Was it like, oh, or was it like, okay?
it was like, ugh.
You're like, what? I'm going to sit
Yeah,
at a front desk or receptionist at a real estate. What?
exactly. I was a glorified secretary, girl.
Wow. But you
But
took it.
I took it, and it was basically what I needed because, like, it was definitely like the humility factor. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Once you say, like, hey, you work for yourself and working from home and all those things, and then you have to go to an office and serve 250 agents, it was exactly what I was needing because, you know, pride, man, can like cut you at your feet, you know what I'm saying, and stop things from happening for you. And I felt like I was at a standstill and I didn't know that I had needed this, but it was also the stepping stone to me getting into real estate.
See, I'm glad that you said that because that's huge. I mean, your pride could 100% get in the way of anything you're trying to do.
Right.
So, and I think everybody needs to hear that. I mean, you have to humble yourself to maybe do things you don't want to do just to kind of see what happens because, everybody, it's not your end destination.
Right.
Everybody's like attached to like, oh, I don't want to do this because it's the end, but you have to be open-minded to what it could lead to. So, I mean, that
Exactly.
obviously that happened to you. So what happened next?
Dude, I started seeing people making my salary in one check.
Yeah.
And behind, I said, "Oh, what am I doing back here?" But I stayed there for about 6 or 7 months, and I was a temp, and they had approached me and say, "Hey, we want you to come on full time." I was like, no, no, thank you." But I was like, "Hey, if you all pay for my real estate exam and license and everything, then we can talk." And they did. Keller
Wow.
paid for it, and man, and the rest is history. I got there probably March, and I was a full time licensed agent that September, October. Um,
Okay, so yeah, let's think about that for a second because you're working full time, you're getting a check, and then
mhm.
now I'm assuming you had nothing. You're just like, I'm gonna start my new job at $0. Basically, I'm gonna start my new $0 an hour job.
That is correct. That's how it went. And I don't like.
So
I
like,
was
what
like,
went through your minds when you're like, okay, like I'm gonna do this? Like, what was that like that transition period? It
yeah,
doesn't seem
absolutely.
like it was much.
No, it wasn't. I needed cigarettes. That's what I needed. Okay. But actually, I had saved up some money. I didn't spend everything. I didn't save up enough money. However, that really pushed me to get out there and get it.
Yeah.
And but it was like the mindset of, I needed that job to get back in a great mental state because I wasn't in a good one.
Okay.
Sometimes that consistency and that,
Gotcha.
every 2 week check is something that I was needing to be able to be like, yo, you can eat now. You
Sure.
don't,
So talking about like when you said you were kind of in a rough spot or a bad spot, like, what was that all about? What was that caused by? What was going through your mind for you to go into that?
right, man. It was just more so I just wasn't in a good place. You know what I'm saying? I felt like a failure because here I am wanting to do entertainment, because by trade and by natural gift I could sing. And I didn't know that ultimately I wanted to be the creative versus being the
Mm,
manager of the creative, right?
got it.
And when you're marketing films, and I marketed faith-based films, and we know sometimes those aren't always good. So you have to do a product and you have to market a product and put on this face, man, that was just like, oh, this is a great movie, sell it. It actually sucks, okay?
Yeah.
And I just wasn't in a good place, mentally, financially, like those
Sure.
types of things. So like my life group leader was like, dude, go get a job. Like, don't try to do this entrepreneur thing. Like, go get a job. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, mind your business, you know. But he was like, go get a job, and I did.
That just goes to tell you that there's people around you that are gonna just want you to take the easy way out.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what I'm saying? But it was the best advice at that time. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Because it
Yeah.
provided me some stability of what
Yeah.
I needed in order to get my mental correct, right? So
Okay.
just going through that process, man, like I just was able to get some, like I'm not worried about am I going to be able to eat. Greg, let me tell you something. I've seen the worst of days of washing my clothes in the tub, of eating
Wow.
cornmeal pancakes with no syrup because that's all that was in the pantry, and I don't live like that,
Yeah, but
like
you know what though? I mean, like I feel like that going through that is if you keep your mind on that, knowing that that is a somewhere that you came from, and b a possibility to happen again. It almost humbles you
mhm,
to be thankful for like, wow, like this is, I created this and I'm here now. Like I came from this, you
right.
know, because coming up from something, really grounds you and keeps you grounded to be able to, not have your pride get back in the way for
That's
sure.
right. Right. And it creates understanding, man. You know what I'm saying? Because
Respecting.
and respect, but also empathy. You know what I'm saying? Because now, I heard you say that I'm approachable because I can relate to the person who doesn't have, and I can relate to the person who does have. You know what I'm saying? Who has more than enough, right? And I think that's why I wouldn't trade my journey for the world. However, I don't want to go back through
Yeah, right,
that.
exactly. So it keeps you motivated now to not go back to that. It's like, that's great. I
Exactly.
went through that, I learned a lot, but I'm done.
Exactly. Done, man. But again, it goes back to the mindset, man.
It
Like
does.
I had a poverty mindset. Like it was like from growing up, what I'm saying, single mom,
Yeah,
raising three children, and all you constantly hear is like,
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
have. And it was programmed to like, I don't have, or living beyond my means. Like, let me go get this big apartment, but I wasn't making this type of money. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like, just unpacking all of the crap and all of the
Yeah.
programming,
Well,
so
dude, that is like, so that's a huge thing right there. It's like, there's a lot of people in that mindset, in any mindset. And a lot of times, like, maybe you were, obviously it was part of your growing up, you
hmm
know, and a lot of that times, even from that, your generations back, it could be even be generational, like
hmm
just part of their DNA, that this is kind of how. So, someone like yourself, like you're probably, the way, one of the only members of your family that's actually like stopping that and can, create a path moving forward that's
hmm
different.
Yep.
So what were, so like unpack this and unpack that, like what is, like where, a, like what made you think that I need to do that, and b, like what did you do to do that?
Right. I
Because
felt.
I like to think of the mindset, because people have these thoughts in their mind. I'm trying to connect with like what they may be thinking to be in there,
Mhm.
and what you thought differently to get out.
Yeah, man. I mean, it was. Um, I want to make sure that I'm answering your question. What was the first question? Let me.
So really, like think about, like, you said I had a poverty mindset.
hmm
What was the light bulb that went off and says, man, I need to change this. This isn't right. The world is not this way. It actually can be what I create.
Yeah. I was tired of the cycles. You know, the cycles were the very thing that I kid you not. I went a whole month, and every time Monday came around, I said, "It's Monday again. It's Monday again. It's Monday again." And I started to see the days and the weeks and the months and the years go by that I was in the same place. And I'm like, what is this? Like, you make strides to, do something, you get some type of leadway, but you digress back. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And that's because of the mental aspect of it, because of the self-limiting beliefs, the thoughts and the patterns and everything that you do, and the stories that we tell ourselves, so how do we see ourselves, do we love ourselves, so
Right.
like, those types of things played a big role into that poverty mindset of like, I got to start unpacking. And I had to get truthful with myself, Greg. That was the hardest thing that I ever had to do, because you feel like you on top of the world, you create this world, but it's a lie, because you're not unpacking like the real truth of like, what are you dealing with, what's behind closed doors, you know what I'm saying?
That's huge.
Yeah,
And
man.
a lot of, yeah, I mean, I think that, a lot of people just may not want to feel that emotion.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you see a lot of people that they do what you did all the way through to retirement.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the days, the weeks, and the months. what was the process like? If I was going to do that, and you're talking to somebody that's like, what do I do to get a better mindset, even if it's one thing at a time? And, you're talking about being your truth, like sometimes you can look within and find truth, but I think a lot of times people discount the fact that, there are people out there that you can talk to help you just sort through various things like that.
Yeah.
I'm definitely one. I've been to therapy. Like everybody, I think in their life has to sometimes have outside help with no bias that you don't know. You could tell anything to help you unpack that. And like, you can get over years worth of stuff in a very tiny amount of time if you just are able to allow yourself to feel the emotions and move past it.
Exactly. And that was the thing I was going to tell you. I was like, go to counseling. I was like,
that's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I went through counseling, because one of the reasons why I was going through the same cycles because I had a traumatic experience when I was young.
Wow.
And
so did you know that was holding you back, or were you told that?
No, I knew that was holding me back. However, the therapist was able to tell me what I was dealing with. I was dealing with toxic shame. And toxic.
It's like you put a name on it now, you identify it. And once you identify it, now you could work. So that's amazing. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, man. So basically I went through, I don't know how gruesome we want to talk about this on the podcast, what I'm saying, but I'm an open book. And I wrote about it.
Well, not only that, I mean, I want the people to feel like, because we're relating to people, and it is hard.
Yeah, absolutely. So I went through sexual molestation when I was young. And that like destroyed me and destroyed my identity.
Sure.
And everything. And I went through life, in school, teased and bullied, and what I'm saying. So I was like, well, let me make the perfect guy. And because toxic shame, when you've experienced that, like being the talk of the school, when you've experienced being humiliated, like you build a shield around yourself. Okay.
You almost build a new person.
There you go. And I did
that you think all these people that are doing this to you want to see.
Yeah.
And what you're really doing is you're adding more, like you're making it worse.
Yes. And exactly what it was, because you can't hold all that pressure, man. Like I had put more pressure on myself because I wanted to please people. I wanted people to like me and not talk about me. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
While not knowing what was happening to me behind closed doors. Right. So you see the fruit of something, but you don't know the root of it. Right.
Right.
And so all of a sudden, I'm just like, well, let me be the perfect guy. Let me be the leader of the school. I was president of my school, student council, successful, always on, like all these things, but going behind closed doors and just like, now I breathe. And I'm a whole totally different person behind because of what had happened. And so it wasn't until therapy that I started to feel, because he was saying that, dude, you're numb. Like you can't feel anything. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I feel this, what I'm saying? Like, dude, I went through so much traumatic things in my life. Like even, even to finding my dad dead in our house, and so it was one traumatic thing after the other. Parents going through a divorce. I'm in the 4th grade, but that's traumatic. And that's all on the brain. And I never had an outlet. So all of a sudden, all these things were just like stuck in me, And so that's what was holding me back, like my memory. And those things of what toxic shame says is that I am a failure. I am unworthy. These are the stories I'm telling myself, based upon what had happened to me. So it was one of those things, like I had to unpack that and I had to deal with it because I was running from it. Like I don't want to talk about that. I don't feel those feelings.
Right. And, I hope that you don't mind me digging deep a little bit.
Dude, but like,
because this is now we're talking about the hard part. By the way, thank you for sharing that. That's huge.
So welcome.
But like the hard part is what you just said, like feeling it and doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's what people are afraid of. I mean, what was that process like? How long does that take? I mean, because I want people to feel like that they can go through it and it's okay. So what was that like?
Yeah, man, it was not easy at first, you know what I'm saying? Because what's inside you, and there are things that you'll be like, I'm taking this to my grave. I'll never tell anybody, and that was me starting out, man. But once, the therapist gained the confidence and my trust, because I didn't trust people. So I mean,
Right.
look, I've been hurt. I said I've
Yeah,
been touched. I've
makes
been,
sense.
like all those things, right? So, but it started, man. Like I think I went on my 28th birthday. It was my 28th birthday, and I'm 31 now. So this is still recent, 3, 4 years
Sure.
ago, right?
Yeah.
And man, the healing process started like from the first session. What I'm saying? Because he would ask me like, "How does this make you feel?" He'll have like these 7 feelings on the table. I'm like, dude, what does this have to do? Why am I paying you this money for you to ask me how I feel? Like, crazy, I can do this on my own, right? But then I did understand that if I say this makes me feel sad, and he would be like, why? And then a story would come up that was in my memory that I didn't even think about until it jogged, my memory of, oh, that was a situation, or I missed this person, or I missed that person, or I didn't feel loved, or I didn't feel, like all those things. And I just start unpacking it. And then all of a sudden, I just started myself getting lighter and lighter and lighter and easier and easier. It's never easier to talk about things like that. But it got to the point where I wrote a book about it.
That's
So,
yeah. I
yeah.
mean, that's absolutely amazing. That you know, that you went through it, that you got yourself to go through it.
Mhm.
And I think there's so many people out there that they hold stuff like that in for their whole lives, and it leads to addictions and
Yep.
things that they don't, are not serving them.
That's right.
So, I just hope to the people out there that, if, before it gets to that point, like, Isaiah, you went through school. I mean, you stayed at a good place to go to a better place, maybe a
Mhm.
bad place to go to a good place,
Yeah.
instead of like hitting rock bottom and then trying to pull yourself way out and having external as well as internal circumstances that work against you. So
Yeah.
I just hope that the people out there, before they get to that point, are able to, do like you did, and know to get counseling and reach out to family
Mhm.
and friends and stuff like that. Cause I think that's everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, and there's no shame in it. I feel like shame is a huge component in a lot of people's lives. You know what I'm saying? Because again, shame is a fruit of a root issue. You know what I'm saying? So if you do have an addiction, if you do have a problem, it's okay, you know, and we have to make that okay for people to be able to freely talk about those things and
Yeah.
not feel shunned or shamed.
Right.
That's why I embrace people, dude. Like I was like, first of all, you see this smiling face, but the reason why I smile is because I went through so much pain, you know,
Mm,
and
man, say that again.
I said the reason why I smile is because I went through so much pain, and it was a lot of secret pain. Like
Wow.
secrets kill, Greg. And this is all this ties into business. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes when you have shame and you have secrets, and you don't feel loved or you don't feel like you're enough, you have to perform. And in business,
Mm.
many people like to perform to be like, yo, if I'm up here, people will see me like this, and you go home and you don't even love the person you see in the mirror
Yeah,
because
you cover up the rest. Like,
you
this is
cover up.
all a cover up. Oh, absolutely.
And you got people who are, like you said, dealing with addictions. They're drunk, addicted to pornography, what I'm saying, cheating on their spouse, all these things. But you see a success, but there is a private failure. And
Oh
so
yeah.
now the character aspects come into, consideration to be like, yo, I want to be the same person behind closed doors that you see in front,
You want to live your true self. You want to be who you are around
Yeah.
people. You don't want to have to remember what you said because you're
Yes.
talking about a lie
Yeah.
about yourself, just so you don't have to face whatever it is.
That is correct. And that's one of the best things a business owner and a leader can do is to be truthful with where they are and to be truthful with themselves, to be like, yo, this is what I'm dealing with. Like, even though this may hurt, it may cause me pain, but at least that I'm healing. And so I feel like every business owner to face that, if you are facing something, like find the courage to at least go to a therapist, but then at least tell one friend, because secrets kill.
Well, you know what? Tell one friend. You know what? There's even apps and stuff you can log into now that you can talk to somebody that doesn't know you, that you don't have to
Mhm.
be ambiguous.
Yep.
There's a lot of resources out there, and it's very important because, I mean, sometimes, and I see it a lot, I work downtown a lot with people that, are going through a lot of addictions, and,
Mhm.
you know, it's way harder to get back up the further you go down,
That's
when
right.
when you're losing your family, your jobs, and your housing over,
Mhm.
you know, maybe something that just started with one issue or one
Yeah.
incident.
Yeah. Yep.
And
And
that's huge, man.
that's huge, man. And when you really go back to it, dude, it's just one incident that started the whole cycle of where they are right now.
Right. And that one incident, like when you feel that way, you keep lying to yourself to get out of that incident. So you
Yep.
make up something that maybe not here, but it's like, okay, well, it's, you know, I
Hmm.
feel better about this lie than telling this truth.
Yeah.
Or, you know, and like the shame you said, I mean, that's big too, because like, you know, you have to remember that whatever you're going through, somebody else has done it before you. Like you're not
Yep.
alone. There's not
Right.
hidden root emotions, and we're all kind of going through the same thing.
Hmm.
If somebody's been through that at one point or another, for sure.
That is correct. And I found that out truthfully of like when I wrote my book, like I had so many guys reach out to me and it was like, hey, that's my story. Hey, that's my story. Hey, thank you so much for being vulnerable, man. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes I'd be kicking myself to be like, dude, why'd you share that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why did you do that? But it's for that reason for people to understand, like, yo, you can come from a history and rewrite your future. You know what I'm saying? And
That is huge.
yeah, and that's why I'm just like, that's why I want to live, and I'm going to live, and I am living a big life, because even though that happened to me in childhood, I got to the point of like saying like, hey, I'm not allowing this to steal the rest of my life. Like
No,
the
and what you're doing too is like you're using it now to help other people.
Yep.
So you're writing a book and you're talking to me and you're talking to other people, and now
Yeah.
you're contributing back to be able to help other people hopefully
Hmm.
get the same result as you, or at least have someone to talk to, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So
Huge. That's awesome.
that's the dream.
Woo! Well, man, dude, I'll tell you, this was absolutely. You're helping a lot of people right now, for sure. You're going to help a lot of people that watch this or listen to this. I mean, I thank you again for the courage to be able to tell your story and be able to help unpack that for, you know, a lot of our peers and people we know and don't know. That's
Yeah,
big. So thanks for that.
you're so welcome.
Is there anything like what could we do? Like, what could somebody reach out to? How can we find you if anyone wants to reach out to you? Whether this is about real estate or just to thank him or talk to, ask you a question.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm on Facebook and Instagram at the handles Isiah Isiah D Tatum, and you can find me on Facebook and Instagram, or you can go to my website IsiahDTatum.com, and you can reach out to me out there.
And you're like I said, you're at Compass. Do you work with buyers and sellers? Anything specific? Anybody that should reach out to you?
Yeah, I work with both
Okay,
buyers and
perfect.
sellers. Sometimes investors. But
Yeah,
I definitely work heavily with sellers and buyers.
gotcha.
Yeah,
All right, guys. Well, if you know you're looking to buy or sell a house, give Isaiah a call. I'm sure he's will be amazing to help you. But thanks again, Isaiah, for coming on here.
you're so
And
welcome. Thanks for having
to
me.
our new show, average people doing extraordinary things. What you said was absolutely extraordinary, and thanks again for helping so many people.
You're so welcome, Greg. Thank you.